at least 25 years ago, there I was at Esha Torah in Jerusalem. And I said that it was such a lovely sunny day on Shabbat. I said to someone, I think I may just go up onto the roof and sunbathe. And he said, you can't do that. And I said, no, it's okay. I'll be fine. And they said, no, actually, halachically, you can't do that. You can't sunbathe on Shabbat. And I said, that's absurd. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not doing any work. And they said, it is work. It's tanning. Tanning is work on Shabbat. It's one of the 39 malachot, one of the 39 forms of work. And I said to him, that can't be right. I'm sure when it says tanning, it means leather. It means working leather and changing the state of leather. It doesn't mean helping your skin go a bit darker. But he was adamant, this kid was adamant, and so I didn't do it in the end. And it really got me wondering about what is work. According to rabbinic literature, there are 39 forms of work that one should not engage in on Shabbat. And tomorrow in Torah study, we're going to be looking at what that means. What is work? Work in a secular understanding is something that causes effort, something that uses energy, something that can exhilarate, can exhaust. Work is a task to be undertaken normally. But that's not what work means in Judaism, and particularly when it comes to Torah and rabbinic literature. And it's actually rather important that we establish what work means, because Torah is very clear that whoever does work on Shabbat should be put to death. And so it seems pretty obvious that people in the time of Torah knew exactly what work meant, whereas for us it's not as clear. And what I'm not saying is that we should go around to other people nowadays and kill them if they're doing work on Shabbat. Of course not. That would not be good. But for us, trying to understand how they understood work leads us to understand how do I understand work. And that's really important for us. Because Shabbat is not just a time of rest, it's a time of abstaining from work. And so we need to know what it is traditionally that we abstain from. And what's interesting is how that understanding of work has to shift, has to change in the modern day society. For example, using electricity. Does electricity count as work? Well, it's not much work to flip a light switch, but for us it's not much work. But it is doing work in the sense of electrons moving and providing an electrical current. So the question is whether or not that is considered to be work on Shabbat. And some people say that it is, and some people say that it isn't. Is driving a car work on Shabbat? Is sewing a button on work on Shabbat? And so we'll be looking at all of these things. I actually think it's fascinating because it's a way of looking at the rabbinic mindset, the rabbinic understanding of work based on our Torah portion of this week, which talks about the building of the tabernacle and then talks about abstaining from work immediately afterwards. And so the rabbis say work must be anything that is involved in making the tabernacle. And their list of 39 things is really interesting. Because you may think, well, I'm not building a tabernacle, I'm fine, but not necessarily. Now, of course, we all have our own relationship to halakha, to Jewish law. We all have our own relationship to mitzvah. And so it's not my place to say you must not do this and you must do this. However, I do think the essence of Reform Judaism is in education, is an educated choice, so that everyone can turn around and say, I understand this is what the mitzvah is, to abstain from work, and therefore I choose to or choose not to. And of course, in Judaism, we encourage people to engage in mitzvah as much as possible, so long as it's meaningful. And so that's why I really encourage you to join us for our Torah study tomorrow, to come and see what does work mean in Judaism. We're back up to roughly the number of people we had when we started Torah study, when I started Torah study 11 years ago. We get about 20-25 people every week to our Torah study, which is lovely. Some in person, some online. COVID made a bit of a dent in our Torah study attendance, but we're back to a really wonderful group of discussion, different opinions, people sharing thoughts and learning from each other. It's really exciting. And you don't need to know anything to come to Torah study. All you need to do is have the ability to ask questions. Because I always say, for one person who asks a question, there's another who wanted to, but is too afraid to. So please come and join us for our Torah study tomorrow. Also join us for our Kabbalat Shabbat service this evening. It's our new member Shabbat and our board installation Shabbat. We delayed it just a little so that our new executive director could be here. And a lot of people have already met her. It's rather wonderful. And so join us for our Kabbalat Shabbat service, join us for our Torah study, and then after that, we also have our conservative service, our monthly conservative service. And this service continues to grow. It's a really interesting, exciting service, as I think all our services are. But I think it's part of the temple ethos of come as you are. And some people turned round and said, when I come to this community, I want a little bit more traditional prayer. And so we've provided it. And so I really hope you'll be able to join us. We've got some really lovely things happening. We had a wonderful Purim, a wonderful celebration of Purim in our preschool and our religious school and for the adults as well. And so we're kind of riding high on a buzz of community coming together, which is a very lovely feeling. So please join us for our new member Shabbat. Welcome our new members into the community. Come and sit with them and meet with them during the Onig. It's also the board installation Shabbat. Get to find out your board members. Join us for Torah study and for our conservative service, or any of those as you're able. I hope to see you then, and I wish you Shabbat Shalom.